Hi, I'm Christine. Welcome back to another episode of Cooking with Christine. I hope you've been enjoying our other cooking videos and learning a lot and experimenting at home. Today I'm going to show you how to make homemade gluten-free granola. I'm really picky when it comes to cereals. I generally don't buy many boxed cereals. I like to make my own version, and you'll see why. You can incorporate maple syrup and wholesome oils such as coconut oil instead of some of those funky oils. You really want to use those good quality oils and sweeteners in your granola. So that's what we're going to do. So we're starting out here with 4 cups of gluten-free rolled oats. To this, I'm going to add 1/2 cup of gluten-free flour. This is a mix of different bean flours. You can use whatever gluten-free flour you like. Although I have to say I've used brown rice flour, and that can be a little bit gritty in the result. So maybe if you use that, just maybe use a 1/4 cup of that and 1/4 cup of something else like sorghum flour, something a little softer. Okay, and then to this, we're going to add our melted, keyword, melted coconut oil. Ah, that adds a delicious vegan version of like a buttery texture to the granola. We're also going to add a little bit of cinnamon. This is, I think this is about a 1/2 teaspoon. You can add up to a teaspoon if you're a real cinnamon fan. And again, as always, you have these measurements in your recipe that's featured on our blog. And then this is a few pinches of some Himalayan pink salt. Love that salt. This is 1 teaspoon of pure vanilla extract. You don't want to use any of those artificial vanilla flavors. You want to use the good stuff. And then here we have our delicious maple syrup. This is a 1/2 cup of pure grade B maple syrup. Love it. Adds a nice earthy, wonderful flavor there for our sweetness. Then I'm just going to simply combine this together. Some recipes I see out there call for baking your nuts and dried fruits right along with the oats. I tend to bake the oats by themselves with all the different ingredients added here, and then once this is all baked together and nice and crunchy and ready to go, I let it cool, and that's when we're going to add our dried fruits and nuts. Alright, so once this is mixed up and incorporated evenly, I'm going to spread it out in an even layer on a baking sheet that I have lined with parchment paper. That makes the cleanup a little easier. No greasy messes and no granola stuck to the pan like I've had happen to me. Learn from my mistakes. And we're simply going to bake this at 350 for about 20-25 minutes. You want to stir it halfway through and get it nice and evenly baked. And you want to let it go until it's nice and golden. So, you know, I'm roughly giving you a time there of 20-25 minutes, but it may take a little longer or less time depending on your oven. There's so many variables when it comes to cooking. Alrighty, so let's just spread this out on our baking sheet. I love this baking pan, by the way. It's a nice stainless steel one. You know, I used to buy the non-stick ones, and then you have to replace them every so often because they get scratched, whereas the stainless steel one is just lasts forever. Just happens to look a little worn, probably needs a little stainless steel cleaning there. Alrighty, so let's spread this out. As I said, nice even layer. You want it to bake evenly. Okay, and we've got our oven up to temperature. It's nice and hot at 350. So we're just going to pop this in. And let those aromas just fill your kitchen. And like I always do, don't forget to set your timer so you don't forget what you're baking in the oven. And we'll check back when it's all done. So our timer went off and our granola's ready. Wow, you should smell this kitchen. I did stir the granola halfway, as I mentioned, just to make sure it was evenly baking. Let's see what it looks like. Oh, wow. This is so incredible. Gotta try this at home. It's just nothing like homemade cereal. Okay, so perfect. As I'm stirring it, it's lightly browned underneath. Got a nice crunch to it. It gets even crunchier as it cools, especially from the coconut oil. That really makes it crispy and flavorful. So to this mixture, you know, you can let it cool a little bit if you want to, but what we're going to add is some currants. I have about 1/2 cup of some little currants, or you could add raisins. And I'm going to add some walnuts. Again, about maybe a half a cup or more if you like. Feel free to vary this recipe and, add however much you'd like. You could also add some shredded coconut. That would be lovely in here. And the idea is just to evenly incorporate it. And once it fully cools, then you can store it in a nice big glass mason jar. It really makes a nice gift, actually. You can tie it with ribbon for the holidays. Some of these walnuts are a little chunky. You could always go through them and chop them into smaller bits. Okay, and let's taste test. All right, so what I'm going to do is take a little bit of our granola, spoon it into a bowl, top it off with some homemade almond milk, which is featured in one of our other videos. You'll have to check it out. Nothing like homemade almond milk, too. Oof. Then I've got a few little fresh blackberries. Top it all off. All right, let's have a taste here. Oh, it's so good. Boy. Again, I hope you'll try this at home, and I want to make sure that you enjoy it, so let us know in the comment section of our blog how yours turns out.